Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Okay, so today I'm going to show you guys how I made this fondant aeroplane fondant aeroplane for my fondant aeroplane cake. Okay, so I had this cake I was supposed to make for a client. I was supposed to have an aeroplane on top. So what I did was I made the aeroplane the night before so it could firm up for morning, so that by morning it will be able to stand on its own and it will be firm. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is take like papers, like maybe newspaper or some magazines, and cut out a template for what you want. And you want to cut out a template for the wings of the aeroplane, and then for the body as well as for the engines at the back. So that was what I did. So now this is me trying to make gum paste. So if you are used to my channel and my videos, you're going to know that there are some things I don't buy because it saves you money and it helps you save. Yeah. So what I do is I make my own gum paste by myself. So I use some fondant, the regular fondant. I use the regular marshmallow fondant. So I use that and I add some Tyler's powder to it, or CMC. It's called Tyler's powder or CMC. And if you're in Ukraine and you're trying to buy it, it's called SMS. You can ask them SMS. So see how joey and how really nice it is. So now I've made my gum paste. It is very easy. All you have to do is add some Tyler's powder to your fondant. And if you want my fondant recipe, I'm going to put the link right here. It says click on me. Yeah, click on that. Okay, so that's all you have to do. You don't have to measure it or anything. You just have to put enough for it to be able to firm up by morning. Maybe let's say a tablespoon, or maybe 2 teaspoons basically. Okay, so right now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to form the shape of the aeroplane. Yeah, I want you to form that nice streamlined curvy shape. Yes, that's what we want to do. So this shape is important, and that's the reason why we made our cutout. So we'll be able to fit our gum paste on top of that cutout, the aeroplane cutout, so we can know what size it is and if it really fits. You guys get? So now I'm going to make sure it's smooth and it is the size of that cutout that we made. So now that's what I'm doing. You're going to smoothen the side because you don't want there to be lumps in anything, because you know how the airplane is. It is smooth and streamlined and very elegant. Yeah, that's what you want to get. Okay guys, usually when I'm making a complicated topper like this for any of my cakes, what I like to do is make it a day in advance. That way it takes off the stress of having to think about covering the cake and making it pretty and then making the topper. Plus, another advantage making it a day before gives you is that it gives it time to firm up, so it won't be on your cake and it won't be sloppy. Plus, the third advantage it gives you is that when you do that, you have more time to make the cake. Yeah, you won't be rushing or in a hurry, or because you have so much work to do for one particular cake. It takes the load off you basically of working so hard and trying to spend 6-7 hours on one cake. And this topper didn't take me time at all. I saw some toppers on YouTube. Yeah, I saw some videos on YouTube that were really long and they looked really complicated. It looks like if I did that, it would take me maybe 2 hours trying to make a topper, and I'm not trying to spend 2 hours on a cake topper. I'm sorry. I don't not because it is not worth it, but because I feel I'm not there yet, or I don't charge people enough for that yet. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. If you see some of my cakes, yeah, if you see some of them and you see I use edible paint and stuff, I'm trying to spend as less time as possible. That way, if you master the art of spending as less time as possible on one cake, that way, you can make as many cakes per day. You'll be used to working really fast and getting a lot done in very short time. And it doesn't mean the quality will be less. The quality will still be amazing, but you're looking for shortcuts of how to do it better and make it finer, even though you're not spending so many hours on it. So that's why I like to use edible paint. But in this case, I can't exactly use edible paint to make an airplane. And the girl specifically told me she wanted a plane on top, so I gave her the price for making a fondant topper. But I didn't give her a price for making a fondant topper and spending 3-4 hours making it. So this took me basically around this took me about 30-35 minutes to make, and then I came back the next day to firm it up. So what I'm doing right now, guys, is I am trying to cut out the wings of the aeroplane out of fondant, out of our gum paste. Yeah, and I wanted the wings to fit on the shape we made. The reason why we made this template is so that everything would fit and one will not look bigger than the other. Yeah, so now we're trying to cut out the wings of the aeroplane. Yeah. So I already cut out the wing, and this is just like a mini wing to put under the main wing so you can give it some elevation. That way your aeroplane will just not be lying flat on the surface of the cake. Like, it will have some elevation, like it will be kind of facing up. If you put like, it's like a leverage underneath the main wing and like a mini wing so to support it. Yes, that's what we are doing right now. And now it looks like it's a little sloppy and it looks like the shape of a fish. But don't worry, I'm going to show you like how to clip the edges so it can look like a real airplane. So right now I'm cutting out the like the fin. I don't know what that thing is called, but it's like the fin of a fish, but the fin of the airplane that has like that thing at the back that has two extensions. Yes, that's what I'm doing right now. And then we're going to leave that as well at one side to firm up. So this, let's assemble it and see what it's beginning to look like. I like to assemble it at intervals so I can know what I'm doing and like how it's going. So now it kind of looks like a fish, and that is the fin behind. Yeah. So now it is time to form the attachment of the fins. And if you notice, cutting the edges like this, like streamlining it like this, kind of makes it look more like an airplane instead of a fish. So now we're going to form the back. Yeah, we're going to dismantle the end and form the engines. So for the engines, you want to form like a cylindrical shape, and you don't want it to be too thin. You want it to be thick enough to look like to have some volume at the back as the engines. So now we're going to cut into two, and we want the edges to be smooth and like kind of straight and curvy. We don't want it to look like, that's why we're cutting out these edges. So now we're going to like, I'm going to use like a ball tool to make like holes in the middle and make it look smooth and like engine, like, you know, the engine is kind of hollow, it has like a hole in the middle. So that's what we're going to do. Yeah. And it's pretty simple, actually. It's pretty easy. And if you're a cake decorator, if you're a new cake decorator, the trick to like making really nice cakes and detailed cakes without burning out, yeah, because these things take time and like it can be really exhausting sometimes. The trick is to do some of this work in advance, and also to know when to use edible paint and to know when to do the main thing. And if you're doing the main thing, make sure you charge the customer for the main thing. A lot of times, like, we underestimate how much work we do, and it is a lot of work. Like, it is backbreaking work, because half of the time you are standing. Like, for example, for me, I can't work while sitting, so like, because it slows me down. I feel very sluggish. I feel like, okay, what am I doing? So I prefer to stand. So you're standing for hours and like you're trying to make something look perfect and everything. So you should charge them for the work you're doing, and you should not undermine your work. Yeah. And at the same time, know when to cut your losses and like not do the main thing. You should use an edible paint. It will save you a lot of stress. Okay, guys, so now we are forming our engines. Yes, that's it. And then we're going to put it at the back, and then we're going to put the fin again and see how it looks. Yeah, it's beginning to come together, guys. So the next thing we want to do after this, yeah, is to form the extension of the fins. Okay, the extension on the fins kind of look like the wings of the fin. Don't know if that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how to do that right now. So what I'm going to do is, like, I took some gum paste again, and then I cut out like two symmetrical shapes, two identical symmetrical shapes, so that like they can be on either side of the airplane, of the fin, basically. So now we're going to add some details to our airplane, and the first thing you want to do is like you have to like, okay, I already formed some black strips, some black strip of fondant, and then we're going to put it on top of the wing so we can outline it. Now look at this, the wings of the wings of the fins, basically. That's what we're going to do. So now that's what we are going to do, and I already like stretched them and like made them in advance so it to be like smooth and firm. And usually when I use black and white fondant, or like some really colored, like very colorful fondant, and I'm using white, I like to make those details in advance first. Like, for example, if I'm going to make something white and I'm going to put red details in it, I like to make the red details in advance first. The reason why you're doing that is because if you're making the very colored fondant and the white at the same time, like if you're making it simultaneously, it is very easy to get the color, the deep color on top of the white, and then your cake, whatever it is you're making is going to look rough and like dirty kind of. So it's like you're going to be transferring color from one thing to the other. So usually what I like to do is, for example, for these black strips, I made them in advance, yeah, and then now I'm sticking it on for the face, for the wheel screen, for where like the cockpit is. Yes, cockpit. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. I'm sorry you can see my head. I'm sorry. Anyways, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut out tiny. If you notice, I already finished with the white parts of the cake, so that's why I'm doing just the black parts now, because if you do it simultaneously, you'll be transferring colors, and you don't want that. You want your work to be neat. So what we did here is that I cut out tiny windows for the aeroplane, and then I'm going to stick them on. And if you look at the first side, I already stuck on the first side, so I'm going to show you how I was stuck on the second side. And the windows are not like, they're like square, but they are squares with like curved sides. They're not like squares with sharp edges. So when you cut out the squares, you have to use your hand to shape it, to shape the sides to be curved, kind of. Hope you guys understand. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to do that for this side as well, and we're going to make sure it's on a straight line and it matches with the other side of the cake. Yeah, so we're almost there. We're almost done with our work. Yeah, okay, so I say yeah too often. Anyways, okay, so the next thing we're going to do after doing this is that we are going to like take some paint and a paintbrush, and then we're going to make those lines on an aeroplane. Not all aeroplanes have it actually, but most aeroplanes have these lines, or these streamlined lines from the top, from the front to the back towards the engine. So we're going to use a food brush, and some gel food coloring mixed with vodka to do that. So we're getting towards the end, guys. So what we want to do next is to take all the attachments, all the different parts of our aeroplane, and then attach them to the aeroplane. Yeah, and notice we left them overnight, so now it's already like firm and stuff. So we're just going to attach them, and in this case I'm using white chocolate to attach them. You can also use royal icing. Yeah, and if it is not staying, like in my case, you need to put something underneath to support the weight so that it can dry like that. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to put something underneath to support the weight for each side, so it can dry firm and dry like in the shape you want, so that by morning when you come back to it, it will be firm and it will be in the position you want it to be. So now we're going to do that for both sides. Yeah, and then we're going to paint on top of the cake. And notice what I'm doing. I'm painting with a blue food coloring, and once I'm done with the blue, I'm going to paint underneath it as well a red food, like a purple food coloring, so that it can give you some dimension. And what you want to do is you want to make sure your hand is straight and like it's not shaky, it is stable and straight. And then you're drawing like a thick line from the front of the aeroplane to the back towards the engine. And how you do that is that you have to make sure the line is thick from the front, and it starts from from underneath the first window and it tapers down backwards towards the engine. Yeah, that's what you want to do, and you want to do it for both sides. That way, like it helps. It's not all aeroplanes that have this, but doing this makes it look more realistic, and it makes it like well put together, kind of. And then you're going to do that for both sides. And so if you notice, I also painted the top of the engines, and that's because it makes it look more realistic, and it gives it this hollow middle look. Yeah, so now we're going to leave this till morning and come back to it. So in the morning, it is firm and everything is standing. And if you notice, we do not need the tissue paper to hold it in place. So now I'm going to take some white chocolate once again, and then I'm going to stick on the engines to the sides of the aeroplane. And that's all she wrote, guys. See how easy this was? And then once I'm done with this, I'm going to steam the aeroplane. And if you do not have a steamer, steamers are very cheap. I think I bought this for less than $20 dollars. And then what it does is it makes your cake shiny, and it cleans off every excess cornstarch on it, so every excess cornstarch residues around it. And then you're going to steam out your aeroplane, and then it's going to be all shiny and nice. And that's all she wrote, guys. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope it doesn't take you long, just like it took me a really short time. So thank you, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.